Okay, I'll stop this training just for a minute. My name's Jay Devon and I want to share plenty of things to help everyone to be happier on the court. All right, dear little ones, today's video is about the Pro Ball. So a lot of people are always saying how interesting some of the things I say are. Nice people. But this one is to clarify a few things. When they're playing in the professional tennis, they play with the new tennis balls all the time. So what happens is, how it works is, when they go out and they do the 5-minute hit up when they hit a few shots before they actually start the games, for purposes of the new balls, is when they're going to change to a new set, is they count that as 2 games. Okay, so then every time when you see a match in all the professional games, after the first 7 games then, because after every 9 games completed, then a new lot of balls is going to be introduced and all the other ones are going to get taken out. So you see all the ball people, you know, running around, getting the balls out, opening the cans and rolling the new set out. So every 9 games is when they're supposed to change. So for example, except for the very first start of the match, they count two games as the 5-minute hit up and then 7. So once it's 4-3, 5-2, 6-love and 1-love in the second set, once 7 games have been completed, then that's going to count as the 9. So then after every 16, 25, 34, 43, like that, every 9 games, a new set of balls is going to come into play. Okay, so a lot of people ask about that. Well, how do they know what's going on with that? Other very interesting things when they're playing is a lot of things go on. So for example, people are saying, hey Jay, what are they checking out all the different balls? You know, aren't they all the same, green and round, and they're not as cute as yours because they don't have the smiley face on them? But what are they paying so much attention to the ball for? So what is happening when you're watching the tennis and they passing all the balls to them and looking at it and they're deciding, no, this one's no good. It's like, how can that one be no good? Is that what they're trying to do is, when the balls are brand new and they haven't been hit yet, okay, so that means the felt is really low, they go faster through the air. So if I'm serving, then what I want to do when they put into circulation 2 cans of 3 balls, they put 6 new balls into circulation. When they do that, the players are trying to see to make sure when they're serving that they use all the 6 different balls and there's no unused ones, and try to keep using the one that looks the most new, because then when the other person goes to serve, that little bit of difference, every 1% counts in the professional level. A lot of little bits and pieces make huge difference to the outcomes. So what they're trying to do is use the most new ball as much as possible, so that when the other person goes to serve, that the felt is more opened up and it's going to be a little bit more fluff, air resistance as it goes through the air. That slows it down a little bit. It's only a little bit, but like I said, it makes a huge difference. When someone's serving 200 kilometers per hour over, then any little bit slower helps a lot the receiver to be able to hit the ball. So that's why they're doing this little process of which ball's the nicest one. It's just which one is the newest one, the most unused, okay? So then the next thing that what happens is, when they're playing, for example, if I'm a player, sort of the Rafael Nadal type game plan, then what he's doing is he's trying to prolong the points and try to slow down the game and try to make it a battle of who's physically superior, which, you know, given that he's the greatest athlete in the history of men's tennis, that's going to go well for him if he can do that. So what he's going to do then is he's going to do some things like, when they get the new balls, is he's going to try to see if, when every time the new balls come in, is he's going to try to back up a little bit in the court, play a bit further back, be a bit more defensive, and try to really rip up the spin on the ball. So he's going to try to really violently put the strings up the back of the ball, because that's going to fluff up the ball. So he's going to try not to end points. He's going to try to prolong points when the balls are new, so that they get roughed up and they slow down. So the slower the ball is, the better it is for him. The faster the ball is, the easier it is for people to get more payoff for being aggressive and going for their shots. You know, same as the big servers, the ball through the air is better. So the players are doing a lot of things to try to best fit into what suits them to win. So that's a really easy example with Nadal there. Of course, the faster players, when they got the new balls, then they're going to try to curve the ball more, because the spin's going to take better. So you might see a lot of times, you know, one of the main really clever ideas is, when you get a new set of balls and you're serving, you're always going to be there for your right-hander, is to go for less power but try to curve the ball more really wide on the juice court, which is this right to left side, the first one, where I'm standing now, cutting out that way. So this is Roger Federer's go-to weapon. He likes to cut, not really, really fast, but cut the ball out wide and slide the ball really fast. So with the new ball, that's one to look for, because that ball really takes off and skids when it hits the floor, because the felt is so new. So all the players are doing different things, so watch out for these things. There's a lot of interesting things going on. There's even some things that are not as, not in the best interest of the game and not sportsmanly, but some of the players have been caught doing it in the past, and it's become more strict and what wasn't that aware of before, is such things as, the players when they got new balls and they're the person who feels that, hey, I need for the game to be slower, the other person's more aggressive and powerful for me, or even just a bigger server than I am, is they would, because they're sweating a lot, their clothes can be quite soaked. So some of the players, I won't mention his name, but there was a guy who used to sort of do this type of thing with 3 balls and then switch each one and roll them all around on his t-shirt. That would make, of course, the perspiration go into the ball, which is going to make water on it, so it's going to be heavy, so that's going to slow down the ball. Okay, so then of course they wised up to that, so it's a little bit like ball tampering, where they're doing some stuff to make the ball act differently, like it's more worn. So got to keep an eye on that. We don't want those things to happen, because that's not really what we want. But these type of things have happened before. Same as if you're in more like a local game and you're playing on a clay court, where you might bag the court, or you see that sweeping where you see Roland Garros, where they're making the court bounce more even and get rid of all the lines. Then they water the court. So the people who want to slow down the ball and they're not really a very good sport, when they're watering the court, they will accidentally make sure the balls are on the ground, and then they spray the balls so the balls are wet. So then the balls are going to be really heavy if they're the more slow running, stamina neutralizing player of the Nadal type, that they'll do that, which of course is again not. So if you're playing, then the best thing to do, if you haven't got your slot at the Australian Open or Wimbledon or US Open, what are you doing? But if you haven't got your slot there, then you make sure when you're playing, before any of that's going to happen, is you grab the balls and put them with you to your racket bag or somewhere where the other person won't be able to spray water over the balls. Okay, so there's a lot of the interesting things. Now when you're watching the TV and you see what's going on there, you'll have a much better clue as what's happening there. All right, it's all about the ball. Otherwise, there's nothing else at all.